Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Factorio Workshop. As always, I'm here with MadZuri,
Greetings.
and we're gonna go over a build today that is seemingly pretty popular. It is the Nature's Harmonic build, or a variant thereof. The build has been shared around on Reddit in the forums multiple times and changed a little bit each time. This one is from a post on Reddit, and it seems to be very popular, although we have found some issues with it. And I guess I'll let you take over here, Zuri, discussing what doesn't work here.
Well, first of all, it is called Nature's Harmonic because it relies a lot on limiting supplies and using the lowered crafting speed of the different tiers of assembly machines. For instance, this copper cabling machine over here produces just enough to feed the green circuit and enough reds to barely feed all of the blue science pots.
Right.
I usually don't like doing that sort of thing because as soon as this one machine gets a little short on copper, then the entire build slows down. I consider that a bad design tactic.
Right. And yeah, so like you mentioned, it uses the different levels of assemblers to get the correct ratio of science packs to each other. And yeah, as you mentioned, that's not really the best idea for several reasons, really.
It also, this build, after you do all the math, it has 5 extra science labs. It can't possibly feed all of it all the time. So it has about a 60% utilization of the labs. So you have to shut down those research and stop research and allow the belts to buffer up, and then you can start research again. And that's not a very effective way of doing science.
Yeah, exactly. And just to clarify for anyone who's like looking at our labs and seeing they're all working, as Zuri just stated, that's because we gave this a good 5, 6, maybe even 10 minutes before we started research to build up on the belts. And that's the only reason these last 5 labs have all the research. Once it goes through its buffer, these won't have it. It won't be doing the research with all of the labs. And yeah, so you'll either have to stop research every so often to let it build up, or take out 5 labs, which would require a little bit of redesigning, pretty much just taking out these loops, which aren't very good anyway, right, Zuri?
Correct. Of course, I'm not fond of the belt loops or loops of any kind, really.
Yeah. So there's that, and then kind of going with the fact that it uses different levels of assemblers to get the ratio, it makes it pretty much not expandable at all. Both
Correct. If you want to increase your science, you'd have to just build a second one, or a third one, or a fourth one.
Right, because again, these rely on the crafting speed and number of assemblers here to get these correct ratios of science packs. But if you upgrade, say, the blue science packs and the green ones to assembler 3s, and then these to assembler 2s, that's kind of as far as you can go. And that would even make it wrong because the difference between crafting speed of assembler 3s and assembler 2s compared to the 1s and the 2s is different. That's kind of a mouthful, but essentially it would mess everything up. And then on top of that, you can't use modules either, because that would mess things up, because these guys can't even use modules. And
yeah, it's pretty much stuck as is, and it also relies on not doing the lab efficiency upgrades.
yes,
it goes from 15 active labs to like 7 or 8 active labs after you do all the research for lab efficiency. So that reduces its efficiency even more.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, there you go. So I mean, yes, it works to a degree, and the ratios are technically correct for the science packs. But again, it requires the different levels of assemblers, and it only produces one of each science pack every 2 seconds. So it produces 30 a minute, which is like really slow, right?
Yeah, abysmally slow.
Yeah, we figured out it would take about an hour and a half to do this research we're doing right now with this one of these setups. Now, granted, this is extremely late game research, but still, that's a long time for the research, and that's not even counting having to stop it, part way or whatever because you run out of packs due to the labs. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, for us, we don't really see a huge benefit in using this. It does seem pretty popular, and I mean, it looks cool. It's compact, which is super nice. It does work to a degree, but there are certainly some issues with it. And
also, why build this when we've got a better design?
Yeah, exactly. So we move over to one over here that is very similar in the fact it's quite compact and such, but it is far better, to be perfectly honest. So we're just going to power it on here, and I'll let you go over this pretty much, Zuri.
Well, it's designed specifically for perfect building ratios and max efficiency in mind. Also, if you choose to do the lab efficiency research, you can decrease the number of labs. We have, I think, 34 built here.
Mm-hmm.
It's balanced for, I think, 37 or 38. And with the lab efficiency research, you can reduce that down to 18.
Yeah, if you get the max research of lab efficiency, I think.
But the design doesn't have these extra labs. You have to add those to the build yourself.
Right, but this can supply up to 37 or 38, which is a far cry better than the design we just went over.
Yes, it's just a little bit bigger. It includes the oil industry part of it, and it's about twice as fast.
Yeah, it produces 75 science packs a minute, so it's a little more than twice as fast as the previous one. In fact, I think it's exactly 2.5 times as fast.
And fun fact, it actually eats less power.
Right, because of all the efficiency modules. So,
yeah, you can look at the power graph and look.
Yeah, so really it only takes about 8.5. I mean, because we have a few things here elsewhere in our base that, you wouldn't want to count, but really it takes maybe 8 to 9 megawatts of power, which for the amount of science this produces is not bad at all. And go ahead.
People may complain about the investment cost of efficiency modules, but actually efficiency 1 modules are cheaper than solar. Per effective kilowatt, if you will.
That's a very good point. Yeah, and a lot of people may not know that. So, on top of that, just to point out again, because it is quite important, this uses all the same level assemblers, which is what you want, right? We have 12 producing blue science, so a base rate that's essentially 1 a second, because blue science takes 12 seconds base rate. And then we have 6 greens, which take 6 seconds, so that's essentially 1 a second, 5 reds, which is 1 a second, and then a purple. And this is how you want it. Now, I know there's people going to be thinking, well, this is really late game. It's using blue belts, it's using level 3 assemblers, the other one's more early game. Well, this can be too. And again, since it uses all the same assemblers, it's so much easier to scale up or down, right? I mean, you could just make all these level 2 assemblers and all this, like, red belt if you don't have blue belt yet, and it should still work fine.
Yeah, the oil industry part will be a little overkill until you upgrade everything to tier 3s, but this will still work with tier 2 assemblers and downgraded belts.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously you wouldn't be able to support quite as many labs, but again, it would still probably create quite a few more science packs than the design over here. And like you said, oil overkill, but that, that's not too bad. That's better than not having enough, like some of the cases on this Nature's Harmonic design. But I think that's it. Is there anything else to go over for this one, Zuri?
No. Well, thank you, Sekmer, for designing this for me.
Yes, sorry. Forgot the credit for this goes to Sekmer. He made a forum post, and that will be linked in the description, as well as the blueprint string for the Nature's Harmonic if you do want to use it or want to play around with it. However, if you plan to seriously use one of these as a science design, we would highly recommend this one or something similar over the one here on the right. So, I believe that's it, guys. That really covers about everything. You know, again, this build is very popular, but there are certainly some issues with it. And this is pretty much just an upgraded version, very similar. And, I mean, really, a cool thing is it takes hardly, just barely more space. If you were to visually plop this one on the right on top of this one on the left, really, it's just maybe a few tiles more wider and then obviously longer because of the labs. But other than that, it's very nice and compact.
Yes, and it also has the oil industry built in, which is invaluable, really.
Yeah, exactly, because then you just need to run crude oil and water in here, and you're good to go. So, there you go, guys. I believe that's it. Again, links in the description for both these setups. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or any submissions would be great. Do leave them down in the comment section, and we will check it out. But unless you have any remaining thoughts for either of these Zuri, I think that's going to be it.
That's all I got. See you later.
Alright guys, see you later. Thanks for watching.